The ominous discovery. In the remote town of Black Hollow, an old mine lay abandoned for centuries. Rumors swirled about the dark veins of ore that pulsed beneath the earth, whispering of a malevolent force trapped within. When a desperate mining company decided to reopen the shaft, they unearthed something far worse than they ever imagined. Black Hollow was a small, isolated town with a dwindling population. Once a thriving mining settlement, it had turned into a ghost town after the original mines shut down due to unexplained accidents. Stories of disappearances, strange sightings, and eerie voices in the wind had kept people away for generations. However, in the wake of economic hardship, a corporation named Hallow Corp arrived with a promise to restore the town to prosperity by reopening the abandoned mines. The townspeople, desperate for work, welcomed the mining company with open arms, ignoring the whispered warnings of the elderly who still remembered the mine's dark past. As the first drills broke into the old tunnels, something ancient stirred beneath the surface. As workers delved deeper, they uncovered a strange, black-veined mineral that oozed a thick, ink-like substance. Some miners who touched it reported disturbing visions of faceless entities and heard voices whispering their names in the darkness. At first, these occurrences were dismissed as exhaustion or hallucinations from poor ventilation. However, when a veteran miner named Greg disappeared without a trace, leaving only his helmet and tools behind, fear began to spread among the workers. The local doctor, Elise Carter, started receiving reports of miners experiencing terrifying nightmares and bouts of paranoia. One worker, Charlie, swore he saw his dead wife standing at the edge of the mine's entrance, only to find her rotting remains staring back at him when he approached. The black veins in the rock seemed to pulse as if alive, and the air inside the mine thickened with a strange, suffocating presence. The black ore was transported to a nearby lab for analysis. Scientists noted its unusual ability to move on its own, as though alive. Soon after, the lead researcher, Dr. Howard Mills, went missing, and his lab was found in disarray, with only a single blood-stained note that read, "It sees me." Video footage from the lab showed Dr. Mills staring at the black substance for hours, whispering incoherently. His last recorded words were, "The Hollow One calls to us." The remaining scientists, disturbed by his disappearance, abandoned their research, leaving the black ore locked away in a reinforced vault. But that night, the vault burst open from the inside, and the black substance was gone. The miners who had been exposed to the ore began acting strangely. They spoke in ancient, unknown tongues and clawed at their own flesh as if something was crawling beneath their skin. At night, the town's streets echoed with their inhuman screams. Soon, people in Black Hollow began disappearing. Entire families vanished overnight, their homes left untouched except for streaks of black veins crawling up the walls. The remaining townsfolk barricaded themselves in their homes, but even then, they weren't safe. Shadows moved unnaturally in the corners of their vision, and eerie whispers slithered through the cracks in their walls. An elderly historian, Abigail Vance, revealed that the mine had been sealed centuries ago by the town's ancestors, who believed the ore was the blood of an ancient entity known as the Hollow One. It was said to corrupt and consume all who disturbed it. Searching through old town records, Abigail found journals from the town's founder, Elias Blackwood, detailing the horrific events that led to the mine's original closure. The journals described creatures made of darkness emerging from the tunnels, slaughtering entire families, and a desperate ritual used to trap the entity underground. The journals also hinted that if the black ore ever saw the light of day again, the Hollow One would return. One by one, the townspeople fell under the influence of the black vein. Their eyes turned pitch black, and they moved in unnatural, jerky motions. Some attacked their own families, speaking in the same eerie tongue the miners had uttered. Sheriff Tom Briggs, one of the last defenders of the town, tried to maintain order, but soon his own deputy was found in his home, whispering to the black veins growing up his walls. The townspeople who weren't possessed barricaded themselves in the church, praying for salvation, but the possessed gathered outside, their mouths stretching into unnatural, gaping smiles. Abigail, along with a few remaining survivors, planned to reseal the mine using an old ritual found in her ancestors' journals. But as they gathered the required items, the possessed townsfolk began hunting them, moving with inhuman speed and strength. With time running out, they made their way to the mine, dodging twisted figures with hollow eyes. Inside, the air felt like it was alive, pressing against them, whispering their fears back at them. The deeper they went, the more the black veins pulsed, as if waiting for something. Reaching the mine, Abigail and her group set up the ritual site. As they began chanting, the black substance slithered toward them, forming grotesque shapes of the possessed. They resisted, pouring salt and fire around the mine's entrance. The black veins writhed, forming grotesque faces, screaming in agony. The possessed howled as their bodies disintegrated, their flesh melting like wax. Just as they thought the ritual was working, the ground split open, revealing a cavernous void filled with countless eyes staring back at them. Just as the hollow one began emerging from the depths, a monstrous, shifting mass of darkness, the ritual took effect. The possessed screamed in agony, their bodies disintegrating into black dust. The mine trembled, and with a deafening roar the entrance collapsed, sealing the darkness within. However, as Abigail looked at her own hands, she saw her veins turning black, the infection spreading. The hollow one was not truly gone. It had left a piece of itself inside her. The last whisper days later, Black Hollow was nearly deserted. Abigail, now one of the few survivors, felt uneasy. As she packed her things to leave, she noticed a small cut on her hand, and from it, a single black vein slowly began to spread. The horror was far from over. The townspeople thought they had won. But in the stillness of the night, Abigail heard a voice whisper in her ear, "You are mine now,